You think you picked your car for the mileage, the safety rating, the color you liked on the lot. That is not what actually happened. Underneath every one of those practical reasons was a psychological need doing the actual choosing, one you were probably not even aware of. Researchers who study decision-making call the story you tell afterward post-purchase rationalization. The logic gets built after the choice is already made, not before it. There are 10 distinct psychological types driving cars right now, and almost no one can tell you which one they are until someone spells it out for them. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which type explains you. Type 10 explains a kind of driver almost everyone assumes they already understand, and almost nobody actually does. Stick around for that one.
Type 1. SUV or crossover. The control seeker. SUV and crossover drivers sit higher than almost everyone else on the road. Wider mirrors, a raised seat, a full view over the hoods in front of them. That elevated seating position is not an accident of design, it is the entire point. Psychologists who study perceived control, how safe and capable people feel in a given situation, have found that height and visibility directly change how in command someone feels behind the wheel, even when the actual safety data does not change at all. Sitting higher does not just feel different, it rewires how threatened the brain feels by everything around it. This driver is not chasing size for its own sake. They are chasing the feeling of being able to see everything coming before it becomes a problem. Ask them why they upgraded from a sedan, and most will not mention horsepower or cargo space first. They will mention finally feeling like they could see the road properly. They are not driving something bigger, they are driving something that lets them exhale on every single commute, whether they notice it happening or not. 9 to go, and the next type could not be more different from this one. Type 2. Sports or performance car. The sensation seeker. Performance car drivers downshift into corners other people would coast through. Low seating, a tight grip, the engine note used almost like information. From the outside, it looks like a need for speed. It usually isn't that simple. Psychologists who study sensation seeking, a well-documented personality trait tied to how much stimulation someone's brain actually needs to feel normal, have found that people high in it are not reckless by nature. Their baseline arousal simply sits lower than everyone else's, so ordinary driving barely registers as anything at all. For this driver, the car is not proving anything to the people watching. It is the one place their nervous system finally gets enough input to feel fully awake. Ask them what they think about mid-corner, and most will tell you, nothing. Completely nothing. And that silence is the entire appeal. They are not chasing danger. They are chasing the one feeling that finally matches how much stimulation they actually need. Type 3. Sedan. The closure seeker. Sedan drivers rarely upgrade for the sake of upgrading. Same badge, same shape, a car that starts every morning and asks nothing else of them. It can look like a lack of imagination. It is closer to the opposite. Psychologists who study need for cognitive closure, how strongly someone prefers clear, settled answers over open-ended uncertainty, have found that people high in it are not boring by nature. They simply get real relief from decisions that stay decided once they are made. This driver already has enough open questions in their life. The sedan is the one decision they do not want to keep relitigating every few years. Ask them if they have thought about switching, and most will say the current car still works fine, so why would they? They are not settling, they are protecting the one part of their day that never needs a decision. 3 down, 7 to go, and this next type explains almost every job site in the country. Type 4. Pickup truck. The self-reliant. Pickup truck drivers load the bed before anyone even asks them to. Tow hitch installed, tools already in the back. A truck that gets used for favors as often as it gets used for its owner. That readiness is not incidental. Psychologists who study self-efficacy, A person's belief in their own ability to actually get something done have found it's one of the strongest predictors of confidence across a person's entire life, not just at work. People high in it do not wait to be asked. They show up already capable. For this driver, the truck is proof, to themselves more than anyone else, that they can handle whatever gets thrown at them. Ask them the last time they used the truck bed, and most will describe helping somebody move, not hauling something for themselves. They didn't buy a truck, they bought a standing answer to, "Can you handle this?"
Type 5, electric car, or EV, the early adopter. EV drivers were checking range numbers and charging maps years before most people even considered switching. Home charger installed, app tracking battery health, ahead of a shift most drivers have not made yet. That timing is not luck. Researchers who studied diffusion of innovation, how new ideas actually spread through a population, have identified a small group who adopt new technology well before it becomes mainstream, often years before it becomes convenient. That early window is not about the tech itself, it is about identity. This driver needs proof regularly that their choices are ahead of the curve, not behind it. Ask them why they switched before charging infrastructure was fully built out, and most will say they did not want to wait for permission. They are not chasing a trend. They are the reason the trend eventually exists. Halfway there, and the next type gets more misunderstood than almost anything else on the road. Type 6, muscle car, the power seeker. Muscle car drivers rev before they even pull out of the driveway. Big engine, loud exhaust, a car that announces itself before it is even seen. It reads as showing off. That is rarely the full story. Psychologists who study the power motive, a documented need to feel a measurable sense of impact on the world around you, have found it shows up most strongly in people who feel, somewhere else in life, like their actual influence is smaller than they would like. The engine does not create the need, it answers one that was already there. For this driver, the sound is not for other people, it is confirmation that something under their control can move the ground when they ask it to. Ask them what they love about it, and most will not mention the top speed. They will mention the exact second the engine catches. They are not compensating. They are borrowing certainty from something louder than doubt, if only for the length of the drive. Type 7, luxury, premium car, the signaler. Luxury car drivers notice details almost nobody else clocks: stitching, badge placement, the exact sound a door makes when it closes. That attention is not vanity by itself. Economists and psychologists who study costly signaling, spending resources specifically because the cost itself proves something real, have found the theory goes back further than marketing, back to evolutionary behavior, where visible cost has always been one of the fastest ways to prove capability without saying a single word out loud. This driver is not trying to fool anyone. They are using an old, well-understood signal that only real capability can absorb a cost like this one and walk away from it without blinking. Ask them if the badge matters, and most will not deny it. They'll just tell you it's not the only reason. They are not paying for a car. They are paying to make a fact about themselves instantly legible. 3 left, and the next one gets almost no respect on paper and deserves far more of it. Type 8, hatchback, the minimalist. Hatchback drivers pass on the bigger trim almost every single time. Smaller footprint, easier parking, nothing extra bolted on that wasn't strictly needed. It looks like a budget decision from the outside. It is usually something else entirely. Researchers who study materialism, how strongly someone's sense of worth gets tied to what they own, have consistently found that people who score lower on it report higher day-to-day satisfaction, not despite owning less, but partly because of it. Less to maintain quietly becomes less to worry about. This driver already decided the car is a tool, not a statement, and that decision frees up mental space most other drivers don't even realize they are spending. Ask them if they have considered upgrading, and most will ask upgrading to what, genuinely confused by the question. They did not buy less car, they bought fewer things to think about. Type 9, Off-road, or 4x4, the nature seeker. Off-road drivers check the weather and the terrain before they check almost anything else. Mud tires, a winch mounted up front, a route picked specifically because most cars cannot follow it there. The destination is rarely pavement. Biologists and psychologists who study biophilia, a documented, measurable human pull toward the natural world, have found the need is not learned. It shows up early, and it doesn't fully go away no matter how urban a person's daily life becomes. This driver built a machine specifically to keep answering a poll most people have simply stopped listening to. Ask them about their favorite drive, and it is rarely a road at all. It is usually the exact moment the pavement ended and the actual trip began. They did not buy a truck for the dirt. They bought a way back to something they never stopped needing. One left, and this is the type researchers say gets misread more than any other car on this entire list. Type 10, Minivan, or MPV. The quiet sacrifice. And then there's the minivan, the type that surprises people the most and the one worth sticking around for. Minivan drivers plan routes around somebody else's schedule. Snacks in the console, a seating chart that changes depending on who has practice, a vehicle picked entirely around other people's needs instead of their own. It gets treated as the least glamorous choice on this entire list. It is almost never that simple. Psychologists who study generativity, a documented stage where a person's sense of purpose shifts toward caring for the next generation instead of themselves, have found something that surprises most people. It's consistently linked to some of the highest reported levels of life satisfaction researchers measure, not the lowest. This is the driver researchers say gets misread the most. People assume the minivan means something gave way, some earlier version of themselves quietly lost. Most will tell you the opposite is true. Ask a minivan driver what they would trade it for, and the honest answer is usually nothing. Not yet, maybe not for years. They did not lose a car they used to want. They just started wanting something else more. 10 cars, 10 completely different reasons to drive. Control, sensation, closure, capability, timing, power, signal, simplicity, nature, sacrifice. Different driveways, different budgets, different roads that got them each here, but the same simple question sitting underneath every single one. What does this vehicle need to prove and to whom? So, which one are you? Maybe you already knew before this video started. Maybe one of these 10 just described you a little too accurately, right down to a detail you didn't expect a stranger on the internet to know. Tell us in the comments which type you landed on, and if there's a story behind the exact car sitting in your driveway right now, we would genuinely love to hear that one too, even the parts you wouldn't normally tell anyone.